Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
दोनों हो जाएंगे दो स्ट्रीम हो जाती है ना इसमें स्क्रीन भी देख सकता वो ये बढ़ाएंगे तो ये दोनों जगह दिखेगा
Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-nirandasya Jnana-jana-shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-bhishtam Sthapam Yen Bhutale Syam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadakam Hum Shri Guru Shri Yutad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Nitinamine Ucharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadan. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishanu Suti Devi Pranamami
2020
Priye
बोलो
Vanchakalpadubhya Kripa Sandubhya Eva
ऐसे नहीं
पतितानां
इधर लाओ
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Can we briefly revise a few points from morning's discussion? Somebody would like to revise? Yes, bro.
How Guru is non-different from Krishna?
So how Guru is non-different from Krishna?
Because Guru carries the same message what Krishna says. That's
Right.
how he is non-different from Krishna.
Okay, and how is
And-
different?
And different is that Guru is Yuta and Krishna is Vishnu Tattva.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so therefore the meaning of the word Guru, as Srila Prabhupada explained, is heavy. Heavy with knowledge. Points? Yes, bro.
Guru Tattva is every Guru is representing Krishna and his message of life.
Okay, good. Yes, Guru Tattva is one.
As like Swim Master Jiva Tattva, so we should not have that much expectation that God has evidence, so he can create like magic.
Yes, that's right. Okay, good point.
There are three duties of a spiritual master. First is accepting the charge of disciple, and he abides by the rules and regulation himself. And he always engages in devotional service of Krishna.
Okay, good.
All Lord Krishna can deliver the soul from this material world, and Guru acts as a transparent medium.
Okay, yes, I'll deliver. Somebody else?
So if you follow the pure devotee, and then you are also devotee.
Yes, one who follows the devotee is also a pure devotee. Good. Yes, Samir.
You are telling that connection to Sampradaya is the potency of any Guru.
Yes, that's the important point, and that is the potency of the Guru. It comes from the connection to the Sampradaya. Yes.
That as soon as Lord touches one, and he delivers the whole village.
Yes. Okay. Good. Yes, bro.
Somebody like is following the process, like process of liberation, but in between he is then also he is considered to be liberated.
Yes, one who is following a liberated soul is also on the liberated platform. Few months. Yes.
Like Guru, whatever order comes, that he delivers nothing, adding nothing, subtracting. As
Yes. Similarly,
Guru also like delivers the same message without adding.
yes, without addition, subtraction, concoctions, nothing. Yes. Somebody else? Yes.
Srila Prabhupada used to say that I am not perfect, but what message I was giving, that is perfect.
Yes, the message is perfect because it's coming from the perfect source, free from the four defects. Somebody who has not spoken so far? Done? Okay, good. In the morning, somebody was asking a question about the Guru being a Nitya Siddha. So just to clarify on that point, that yes, the Guru can be a Nitya Siddha, and the Guru may also not be a Nitya Siddha. But then, and if we think that should be the criteria of choice, or the criteria on the basis of which we can make a choice to choose the initiating spiritual master, the important question is, what do we try? What is the barometer, or are there any specific indications to exactly show whether one is a Nitya Siddha or Nitya Siddha? It's not that the Nitya Siddha Guru is going to walk around with a board or something. I'm Nitya Siddha Guru. Maybe some outside bogus gurus do that. Therefore, they're bogus if somebody is advertising like that. But somebody who is actually in that position will not advertise. A Vaishnava is known by his important quality of humility, and so he's not going to advertise himself. So for devotees in general, what is the barometer? Is there any way to find out? No, there's no way to find out whether the Guru is Nitya Siddha or not. And it is not important to find out either. Because as we discussed, what is the most essential qualification? Yes, repeating the message, and yes, connection to the parampara, following the parampara's instructions. That's the most important qualification. And so therefore, it's not really important for us to get into that sort of analysis to try and figure out whether the Guru is Christian or not. And if we try to get that sort of analysis, then there could be some unpleasant consequences. Like, what? Yes, a judging mentality. So inappropriate judgments could be passed on Vaishnavas, leading to, yes, may lead to offenses. And what else could be some of the consequences of such a inappropriate discrimination? Yes, inappropriate comparisons between different gurus. We may not have the adhikar to do that. And so therefore, there could be some unpleasant consequences of such an analysis and trying to find out. So therefore, the criteria has already been set, and that should be the essential criteria on the basis of which we accept an initiating spiritual master. Okay, so now we proceed to the next topic of discussion, and that is types of guru. So there could be a few types of gurus. The most important ones are, of course, the Diksha Guru and the Shiksha Guru. In addition to that, there's also the Vartma Pradaksha Guru, who introduces one to the path of devotional service. Like in the Bhagavatam, we have the classical example of Suniti, the mother of Dhruva, who acted as Vartma Pradaksha Guru for Dhruva to begin his process of devotional service. So one who shows the path, one who just begins, helps someone to just begin the process of devotional service. And that could be the only connection. In the case of Bilva Mangal Thakur, we also have Chintamani the prostitute, who acted as the Vartama Pradaksha Guru. Of course, Bilva Mangal Thakur definitely has his devotional. She acted as the Vartama Pradaksha Guru. So that's Vartama Pradaksha Guru. In addition, there could be the Sannyas Guru, who offers Sannyas Diksha and the Sannyas Mantra. So these are the essential types of gurus. As far as Diksha Guru is concerned, the Diksha Guru is always only one. Diksha Guru cannot be two. The essential functions of Diksha Guru is mentioned here. So Diksha Guru basically gives instructions. So if you see on page number 13 of your handbooks, so you will see the word Diksha being split into Divya plus Kshapayati. So Divya Gyan means spiritual knowledge, Kshapayati means explain or destroy ignorance, or explain the spiritual knowledge. So that's the meaning of Diksha, or Divya Gyan plus Iksha. Iksha means darshan, to see. Philosophy is also called as darshan because one basically sees through the eyes, Shastra Chakshu. So therefore, that is real seeing. What can these blunt material senses, these material eyes, what can they see? They can't see much. But the real seeing is the ears. We see through the eyes of knowledge. And so that is the meaning of Diksha. So Shiksha is an essential ingredient or aspect of Diksha. So Diksha doesn't mean just the official function or procedure of handing over the beads or the mantra and that's it, and giving a name. That's not the end of Diksha. An important aspect of Diksha is Shiksha. And as is explained by various authorities, that in most cases, the prospective disciple, he listening to various Shiksha Gurus, and amongst various Shiksha Gurus, one Shiksha Guru becomes very inspirational and foundational to one's devotional practices. And so, when one understands that one particular spiritual personality or Vaishnav is giving one great inspiration in one's practices of devotional service, then one chooses that one Shiksha Guru to make a formal commitment, and that is what is called as Diksha. And so, essentially, the Diksha Guru also becomes the prominent Shiksha Guru in the life of a disciple. Okay? So, it's not that the Diksha ends with the official ceremony, but the essential aspect of Diksha is Shiksha, to give spiritual instructions. That is the essential role of the Diksha Guru, to give instructions and to give guidance to the disciple. So therefore, the Diksha and Shiksha cannot really be separated. The Shiksha is an integral part of the Diksha. So just below that, there's a quote from Srila Prabhupada. Can somebody please read that? Wherever the mic is, please read.
The very word that
Hmm.
very word in this is the beginning. Diksha, Diksha, Divya. There are two words, Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan means transcendental, spiritual knowledge. So Divya is the and Gyan, Shapayati, explaining. That is Ksha, Diksha. This is called Diksha. Diksha, the combination. So Diksha means initiation to begin transcendental activities. That is called initiation. Therefore, we promise from the disciple that you chant so many times. Yes, sir. You observe this rule regulation. Yes, sir. That is initiation. He has to observe. He has to chant. Then everything comes automatic. The Sanskrit term is called Diksha. Diksha means Divya Jnanam, transcendental knowledge. And Iksha. Iksha means darshan, to see, or Kshapayati, explain. That is called Diksha.
Yes. So the disciple agrees to follow rules and regulations and the instructions of the Guru. That is the meaning of Diksha. And so therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains in the Chaitanya Charitamrita purports that how one receives the Bhakti Lata Beach from the Guru. So Srila Prabhupada gives elaborate commentaries in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami regarding the Bhakti Lata Beach. And so there he explains what is the meaning of Bhakti Lata Beach? The methods, rules, and regulations by which the spiritual master trains his disciple is basically what is called as the Bhakti Lata Beach. Methods, rules, and regulations in which the disciple is trained. That is the Bhakti Lata Beach which the disciple receives from the spiritual master. And so therefore the spiritual master gives those instructions, teaches the methods of the practice of devotional service. And that's how the connection to the Guru Parampara is made. Initiates and officiates connection to the Parampara. The connection to the Parampara is in following the instructions of the Parampara, which are coming to the initiating spiritual master. Okay, so the connection is by following those methods, rules, and regulations. So it's not that the process of initiation is the end. No, rather it is the beginning. Initiation, it's the beginning. So sometimes devotees have this sort of misconception that if we are initiated, finished, our ticket back to God, it is booked. No, that's just the beginning. Then it becomes the responsibility of the disciple to follow the rules and regulations and the instructions. And when he follows, he makes progress. It's not automatic. So sometimes devotees have sort of these misconceptions. I just need to get initiated. I just remain within ISKCON. Everything will just move. Unlike you have the, what you call, those elevators, escalators, yes. Escalators are, in airports, you also have the, what do you call, you can walk. What do you call that? So the escalator or the walkway or whatever on that. So you just stand and it moves. You don't have to do anything. You just stand on it and it moves. But here it's not like that. Unfortunately or fortunately. So one has to make efforts to move, to progress. One has to make one's individual voluntary efforts. That's essential. And so therefore, it is very important that after initiation, then one actually becomes more serious in one's practices of devotional service in order to make progress. Some devotees also have a sort of misconception that if the spiritual master is very elevated and very exalted, then I don't have to do much because he's going to extend the rope and I just have to catch it and he'll pull me. Yes, it is true. It is true in one sense, yes, that the spiritual master through the Guru Parampara is going to extend the rope. That is true. But then the disciple has to at least make the efforts to catch the rope. And the efforts to catch the rope means to follow the methods, rules, and regulations of the practice of devotional service. So the spiritual master gives the spiritual name. Srila Prabhupada explains this also in his purports, that the change of name is essential because by that one gets a name which is dear to Krishna, or which is reminding oneself and others of Krishna. And so that change of name is essential. Yes, as far as the second initiation goes, or the Brahman initiation, then he gives the mantra and accepts the disciples' vows and removes the disciples' sinful reactions. As Srila Prabhupada explains in his lectures, that at the time of initiation, all the sinful reactions are taken by the Guru. The account of sinful reactions becomes 0. So therefore, if one doesn't commit sinful activities after initiation, then one has a good chance to make rapid progress. And therefore, one must be careful not to commit sinful activities. Otherwise, sometimes the Guru may have to suffer for sinful reactions that we will discuss when we discuss initiation vows. So that's about the Diksha Guru. And so therefore, the Diksha Guru, he plays the vital primary role, taking responsibility for deliverance of the disciple. And therefore, the Diksha Guru becomes the foundation of the disciples' devotion. Usually. That's as far as the Diksha Guru goes. Okay. Somebody read the next quote.
Unless one is initiated, all his devotional activities are useless. Unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. A person who is not properly initiated can descend again to the animal species. Hari Bhakti Vilas.
Yes, which Srila Prabhupada is quoting in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So somebody was asking a question this morning on this point also. So unless one is initiated, all his devotional activities are useless. Then somebody may ask the question, so before initiation, we are practicing devotional service, all that is useless? Srila Prabhupada gave a very simple example. So just like if one wants to enter into engineering college, is there a pre-qualification required or no? So one has to finish 10 standard, 12 standards, and I think so these days there are entrance exams, and one has to get certain grade in the entrance exam. So there is a pre-qualification, right? So that one has to study before that. Then one becomes qualified. First famous example was law college. In order to enter law college, one should be a graduate. And that was Prabhupada's famous example. So there is a qualification. So if one doesn't study before, how one becomes qualified to enter the college? It's not possible. So therefore, the pre-qualification is important. It's not useless. It is important. So therefore, the devotional activities one is performing before initiation become a pre-qualification to actually get initiated. That's one point. Another point is, more specifically, in the context of ISKCON, somebody was asking the question this morning that what if somebody leaves the body before getting initiated? He's practicing devotee, chanting 16 rounds, following four regulative principles and other aspects of devotional service, gives up his body before he actually gets formally initiated. As far as within our society, ISKCON society is concerned, we definitely have a great privilege of being connected to our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, the moment one seriously begins to follow the process. Right. Because ultimately, we are following the instructions given by our founder Acharya. And so even before one actually gets formally initiated by a living Diksha Guru, one does get connected to Srila Prabhupada first. And in that sense, the initiation has begun. And the process has begun. And therefore, we are connected to the parampara even before there is a formal initiation. That is our fortunate privilege within ISKCON. And so therefore, it's definitely not a waste. But if there is no connection at all to the parampara, then that's a waste. Of course, we cannot say total waste because some purification will take place, but not much tangible progress because of not being connected to the parampara. Okay. And okay, read the next quote.
Connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with the Krishna consciousness is never performed.
Yes. So we already explained that point. And so therefore, when we talk Diksha Guru, then it is a very formal commitment that one takes. So anyway, we're going to come to that discussion now. But yes, so there is a very formal commitment. One is taking vows. One is taking vows at the time of initiation before the Diksha Guru, before the deities, before the fire, before the Vaishnavas. And so therefore, it is a very formal commitment to follow the rules and regulations and the instructions of the spiritual master. Okay, coming now to Shiksha Guru. So there could be many Shiksha Gurus, Shiksha, so one who gives Shiksha, one who gives instructions, one who gives guidance. So that's a Shiksha Guru. Now there could be many varieties of Shiksha Gurus. Anyone who gives instructions and guidance is a Shiksha Guru. So they could be parents, Parents, if their devotees are religious, they could give some spiritual instructions. And so that they could also be called as Shiksha Gurus. And we also have in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the example of the Avadut Brahman who had 24 gurus, so many gurus from nature. In one sense, they are also Shiksha Gurus because he's learning something from them. And so devotees, we are hearing so many seminars or classes, Srimad Bhagavatam classes. So in one sense, all these are different Shiksha Gurus from whom we are gaining some knowledge and gaining some Shiksha. So the Shiksha Gurus. Okay. Okay, now go to page 12 and read the first quote there. No limit to the number of instructing spiritual.
I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. Purport: a devotee must have only one initiating spiritual master because in the scriptures, acceptance of more than one is always forbidden. There is no limit, however, to the number of instructing spiritual masters one may accept. Generally, a spiritual master who constantly instructs a disciple in spiritual science becomes his initiating spiritual master later on.
Yes. So that point we already discussed, that an instructing spiritual master becomes the initiating spiritual master later on. But then here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is offering obeisances to Manguru Ara Yata Shiksha Guru Gana. Tahara Charana Age Kariye Vandana. So he's offering, so there's Mantra Guru, one, and Shiksha Guru Gana, that is plural. So he's offering his respects to his initiating spiritual master and all the various Shiksha Gurus. Okay, read the next quote. Pass on the mic, please.
The initiating and instructing spiritual masters are equal. The guru who first initiates one with the Mahamantra is to be known as the initiator, and the saints who give instructions for progressive advancement in Krishna consciousness are called instructing spiritual masters. The initiating and instructing spiritual masters are equal and identical manifestations of Krishna, although they have different dealings. Siksha Guru Brinda Kripa Kori Apar Sadhake Sikhana Sadhanera Angasar. But I consider the numerous instructing spiritual masters, Shiksha Gurus, to be very important, for they show unlimited more mercy by training the devotees in all the essential aspects of practical devotional service, sadhana bhakti.
Yes. So here again in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is making these points that the initiating and the instructing spiritual masters are equal and identical manifestations of Krishna, although they have different dealings. Why they are equal? Why they equal manifestations of Krishna? Yes, because they are repeating the same message of Krishna, right? We have already clarified the point that Diksha Guru is the Shiksha Guru. So whether it is the Diksha Guru or the Shiksha Gurus, all of them are simply repeating the message of Krishna. And so therefore, they are identical manifestations of Krishna. And so therefore, they all need to be respected. They all need to be respected. Srila Prabhupada explains in his lectures, as far as the Vaishnava is concerned, a Vaishnava respects everyone, including an ant. Vaishnava is right to respect everyone. What to speak of other Vaishnavas? That's the general attitude of a devotee. A devotee is right to respect everyone. And so, if one is gaining some spiritual knowledge from anyone, from any Vaishnava, one should be ready to offer respects. One is grateful to everyone from whom one learns some knowledge. And so because they are repeating the message of Krishna, therefore they're identical manifestations of Krishna. Yet, as we already made the point, that the Diksha Guru definitely he invests. He invests more faith and commitment from the disciple. And of course, he also takes the responsibility. As far as Shiksha Gurus are concerned, they may give knowledge, but they may not take that responsibility. They may not take that responsibility. I'll clarify the point in a moment. Please read. No, we already read this, right? Yes, we already read this. Okay, we read this also. Yes. Okay. So, so regarding the Shiksha Gurus, Shira Maharaj in his book, he has written a book on Shiksha Guru. There he mentions that there could be two types of Shiksha Gurus. One is committed and other is non-committed. So sometimes the Diksha Guru, because of unavailability due to lack of time, or a disciple because of inspiration from a certain Vaishnav, may be committed to follow a certain Shiksha Guru, or the Diksha Guru may instruct a Shiksha Guru, a senior Vaishnav, to take care of his disciples in a more formal, committed way. And the disciples then become accountable to that particular Shiksha Guru. So there is a greater commitment from the side of the disciple, and there's a greater responsibility from on the part of the Shiksha Guru. So he says that there could be these two types of Shiksha Gurus. So, and we do see that scenario sometimes within our society, where the Diksha Guru may appoint certain senior disciples to take care of his other disciples. And so then there could be a more formal commitment. And in some cases, there may not be some formal commitment like that, but the Shiksha Gurus could just be giving some instructions and some guidance and not have some formal commitments. So that's on the point of Shiksha Guru. And he also mentions that in any case, the Shiksha Gurus can be considered to be like the expansions of the Diksha Guru. That means basically they repeat or they represent the message of the Diksha Guru. So that's on these types of gurus. Any questions so far? Yes, Abhinav.
Ruchi, like there is a formal initiation ceremony where the Diksha Guru gives the beads and the mantra. So is there any formal ceremony for appointment of Shiksha Guru also? Or just like in an informal way one may choose the teachings from?
Surely we, at least in our society, don't know about any formal acceptance of Shiksha Gurus. And as far as I mean, a formal ceremony, you're asking about a formal ceremony, right? So at least in our society, we don't know about any formal ceremonies. But having formal Shiksha Gurus, that very much depends on the Diksha Guru. So there could have a system where there are formally Shiksha Gurus you call them counselors, mentors, or whatever, who are formally appointed by the Diksha Guru to take care of the remaining disciples. And then there is a greater commitment on the part of the disciples towards those Shiksha Gurus. And so whether the Diksha Guru wants to have that system or not is up to him. Whether he wants that sort of formal commitment or it's just something more informal, what system he wants to follow, that depends on the Diksha. Is it okay? Yes.
Yes, small.
Okay, go ahead.
In that. So how to like express that, certain personalities, certain spiritual personalities, I'm accepting him as my Shiksha Guru. So it has to be accounted to some spiritual authority, or like within oneself only one just takes.
So that's what. So if it is so, I'm not remembering exactly where the quote is, but definitely the quote is there somewhere. That it is said that definitely the disciple should at least inform the Diksha Guru if he is going to take instructions, guidance in a more formal way or in a more committed way from a certain Vaishnav, then it's definitely it should be done with the permission and blessings of the Diksha Guru. All right.
Priji, you mentioned that Diksha Guru is only one. So, but
the Shastra says.
But if there is a case like that, when disciple is initiated by a spiritual master, but disciple could not complete his devotional service to go back home, back to Godhead, and spiritual master left the world, he went to Godhead, like he went back home, back to Godhead. But then this disciple, he may have to take another birth now, like in this material world, and he may accept someone else as Diksha Guru. So then how that it becomes like different now, really?
I think so. This point will come up a little later in our discussions when we discuss. But in any case, since you asked the question, we will just clarify it. So you have presented a case where the Diksha Guru, he leaves this world and the disciple is still there in the world, right? That's the situation. And what would happen to the disciple if he comes back, right, to this world? If the disciple all goes to the spiritual world, there's no problem, isn't it? So then you're presenting a case where he has no fulfilled his life and then he needs to come back to the material worlds, and then who takes care of him? So and therefore we clarified the point right in the beginning of our discussions. We clarified the point: who is the original guru? Who's the original guru? Yes, Krishna. And of course his representatives you could call Nityanand Prabhu or Balaram or anyone, but ultimately it's Krishna. And it's Krishna who has as the loving father, Aham Bija Pradapita, as the love father who has the greatest compassion on all the jivas and is concerned with the deliverance of the jivas. And so therefore, as that supreme compassionate father, Krishna makes arrangements. As we already read quotes and discussed the point, that whether it is Diksha Guru, Shiksha Gurus, all of them are basically representatives of Krishna. And so therefore, in the next life, what arrangement Krishna is going to make for the deliverance of that particular disciple is up to Krishna. So whether he's going to send that same spiritual master, whether he's going to arrange some other spiritual master, it's up to him what he wants to do. But definitely he will make some arrangement, because the connection to Krishna via the medium of the parampara has been established. So therefore, Krishna will make some arrangements.
Prabhuji, we have also heard that the relationship between a Diksha Guru and a disciple is eternal. Like it is not lost even if somebody, like the relationship is aparted by some or other means. Means it becomes not so much personal. Prabhuji. Like bhakti is very personal, we say, and how the relationship which is made is so very personal. But that is true that Krishna will arrange someone, like, because he is the ultimate spiritual master.
Yes. So these points do come a little later. The disciple is definitely eternally grateful to the spiritual master who has helped him make progress in devotional service. He's eternally grateful. Life after life, he's grateful. But then, if for whatever reason the disciple doesn't achieve the desired perfect goal, it's not that the spiritual master is compelled to come again. So as I already mentioned the point, if Krishna wants, yes. Or if not, then Krishna will make some other arrangements in the next life. So the connection to Krishna, that's eternal. That's definitely eternal. A particular personality who acted in the capacity of a spiritual master, the disciple is definitely eternally grateful to him. But it's not that if the disciple takes 10 lives to go back to the spiritual world, 10 lives, that same personality has to come again and again to help the disciple. Say if there's just one disciple remaining, should we expect that same spiritual master to keep on coming? I think so. It's a little far out expectation, isn't it? So therefore, we understand that yes, Krishna will definitely make some arrangements.
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you were telling that in our previous lives, we have done some devotional service or Agyat Sukriti. So how can we come to know that we have done in previous lives little bhakti?
Can you give some suggestions?
Suppose that a child is on a devout family, he is getting that background. So from this, you can little bit depict that.
That's correct. You said it's correct. But then how is this relevant practices of devotional? So what's your purpose of asking this question?
That how can we advance little further in that?
Everyone has to advance. From whatever point one is at, one has to advance, right? Advancement is made by following instructions. So So definitely, if one is coming with a previous background of Sukruti, then it may become a little more easier to make further progress because such a person already has some taste in devotional service, which is coming from his previous life's Sukruti. And so it may become a little more easier for him to make progress. But ultimately, everyone has to make progress. Not that the person who has come with the Sukruti says, fine, now everything is fine, I just relax. If he just relaxes, Maya is going to be very happy about it. So ultimately, everyone has to make the endeavors to follow the process, irrespective of one's previous background. If one has a previous background of Sukruti, well and good. It makes the process a little more simpler. That's all. Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Guruji, some online questions. One online devotee is asking, how can we choose our Shiksha Guru?
Ask the Diksha Guru.
Okay. Second question. Sometimes we, according to our comfort and nature, we take guidance from different Shiksha Guru. So how to tackle this problem?
According to, was that comfort and?
I think his question is that, like, whichever we like, we accept him.
Whoever we like.
And whosoever we gives us little instruction kind of thing, then we just. So how do we tackle this problem? He wants to know.
Yeah. So therefore, it's not that there's a marketplace of Shiksha Gurus from whom we pick and choose. So therefore, we made the point that that also needs to be done under some guidance. So therefore, the Shiksha Gurus are also appointed, or at least verified. Okay, not that it's just my own whimsical choice. That I like someone because the mind says so. No. Then there is verification. So either one verifies or the Diksha Guru or the system. There could be a system within an institution or within a temple. There could be a system where there are certain official Shiksha Gurus appointed to give guidance. So whatever may be the system, irrespective of what is the system, but we understand that when it comes, and here we are speaking about a formal Shiksha Gurus, we're talking about formal Shiksha Gurus, then yes, then there needs to be some verification, some authorization, As far as informal Shiksha Gurus are concerned, then that's fine. Then we can accept guidance, inspiration from so many. Then there's no problem. As we already read that quote, Shiksha Gurus can be unlimited. So there's no problem with that. But then when we speak of a little more formality, accountability, responsibility, then yes, the authorization comes into the picture. Is it okay?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Like here, initiating and instructing spiritual masters should be considered equal. So the instructing spiritual masters here meant like those who are Diksha Gurus, like, or others, means those who are initiating spiritual masters. In the sense, like.
So what's your question?
There may be many instructing spiritual masters, and out of them, like
one of them becomes the Diksha Guru.
One of them becomes Diksha Guru.
Right.
So the instructing spiritual masters mentioned here are like others only.
Yes, yes, the others.
And
the Diksha Guru is obviously a Shiksha Guru. That's needless to say. The Diksha Guru is obviously a Shiksha Guru. We are referring to other Shiksha Gurus.
So that means they are they are also initiating spiritual masters only, not for that particular disciple,
They could
but
be,
for
they could be initiating spiritual masters, or they may not be initiating spiritual masters. Either.
There's one more question. Like in the previous quote, the guru who first initiates one with Mahamantra is to be known as initiator. But like here we come, so we start chanting first, means at very beginning itself we start chanting. So how like?
Yeah, so we follow the process as per the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So we're going to come to that discussion very soon now. And that is Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all devotees within ISKCON. And so therefore, Srila Prabhupada acts in that capacity as the Sansthapak Acharya, the founder Acharya, and the Shiksha Guru for everyone. And so we are following his instructions.
Like, but he is not initiator.
Yes. So what's the problem?
Means this confirming that it is written that initiates one with Mahamantra is to be known as.
Yes. So the formality, the formal Diksha, yes, we have a living Diksha from we have a full Diksha. But then the process is initiated as soon as one begins to follow the instructions of the founder Acharya.
One more question. That sinful reaction at the time of initiation, spiritual master takes. But we say this also that as soon as one starts the process of devotional service, all the reactions are taken away, and then later on, like as per the need Krishna gives. So for the time of formal initiation, is it taken away, or like as soon as, because devotional service begins beforehand only?
Yes. So therefore, definitely, as soon as one begins the process of devotional service, the purification process definitely begins. And purification process means that the sinful reactions are definitely being nullified. And so therefore, we already clarified the point that because we are connected to the parampara, as soon as we begin to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions, we are connected to the parampara. And so therefore, that destruction of sinful reactions does take place right from that time onwards. But in a more formal sense, then it takes place at the time of the Diksha ceremony. Okay, just on that point. So on page number 18, you could see a quote, the second last quote on page number 18. The spiritual master accepts the sinful activities of his disciples from the first initiation. I may give initiation very easily, but what can I do? I'm prepared to go to hell for the service of the Lord. So the spiritual master definitely accepts the sinful reactions and then may also have to suffer for that. And if you see the next quote, Srila Prabhupada is saying that regarding your question, second initiation is a real initiation. First initiation is a preliminary, just to make him prepared, just like primary and secondary education. The first gives him chance to become purified. And when he's actually purified, then he's recognized as a Brahmana, and that means real initiation. The eternal bond between the disciple and the spiritual master begins from the first day he hears, just like my spiritual master. 1922, he said, in our first meeting, you're educated boys, why don't you preach this cult? That was the beginning, right? Prabhupada considers that the beginning, even though he received formal initiation 11 years later. But then Prabhupada is saying that that was the beginning because he received instruction that time itself. So the same thing applies for us also. So we begin to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions. That is the beginning of the process. And then it's only a formality later on. Therefore, the relationship began from that day. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna. We heard like there are two kinds of Siksha Gurus. Like one
informal. So those who take responsibility, or those who are whom we are not accountable to, they will come under category. Like you told, from whom we hear Srimad class or any kind of instruction we are taking or guidance in the form of lectures or like that. So they will come under this category of.
Yeah, so then there's no commitment, so non-committed informal.
And those who are like formal, so they will they will be like we I heard earlier that the Shiksha Gurus also are on the level of Diksha Gurus. As per he was also saying that the Shiksha Gurus are are also like Diksha Gurus. So those devotees who are guiding us, they are giving us practical guidance, or they are giving us instruction.
Okay, so they are identical manifestations of Krishna because they are repeating the message of Krishna. Therefore, they are said to be identical manifestations of Krishna. Yet, in a traditional system, we definitely find that a disciple's commitment, devotion is very strongly bonded with the initiator or the Diksha Guru, because the Diksha Guru is taking responsibility for the disciple. And so therefore, they, in a very natural way, because we already discussed the point that it's not that just on the day of initiation, the relationship between guru and disciple begins, right? The relationship was already there. And so therefore, that relationship is being nurtured over a period of time. And therefore, the disciple naturally has a greater devotion, respect, commitment to the initiating spiritual master. That's natural. And so therefore, as Shivram Maharaj says, that the Shiksha Gurus can be considered to be expansions of the Diksha Guru.
And those Shiksha Gurus may not be initiating spiritual master.
They could be initiating spiritual masters also.
Like in context of ISKCON, we see like those who are initiating spiritual masters. So generally, the devotees don't have direct access to them. So the senior devotees who guide us, so they are not the initiating spiritual masters or sannyasis also.
It could be. Why not? Why not?
They can be, but like in my case, like it's
the individual case is different. Individual cases, there could be so many varieties. But then the principle is that yes, they could be sannyasis, they could be senior Vaishnavas, they could be brahmacharis, they could be grihasthas, they could be anyone.
So my question is that is that bona fide? Like even if they are not the sannyasis, or even if they are not
definitely bona fide.
They are also in the category of formal Shiksha Gurus, committed.
Whether they're formal or not, we already said, depends on the system. The system instituted by the Diksha Guru or the specific organization. All right. Okay. Okay. 1 and 2. Okay. Here we take 1, 2, and then we'll come to you.
I want to make clarification regarding this. In our society, first we get Shiksha Gurus, and based on this, that Shiksha, then we choose Diksha Guru. So I want to clarify that in our society, is it necessary to get initiated because already we are following the Shikshas of the Diksha Guru. So is Diksha is a formal process to remove sinful reactions or to get a person responsible for our spiritual life? So is it necessary to get initiated in this concept?
Okay, so your question is it necessary to have formal initiation, Diksha, right? The answer is very clearly given by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu in the first three angas of devotional service, which are considered to be the most important angas of devotional service. One of them is to accept formal diksha. That's what Rupa Goswami said.
But the purpose is to follow the.
The purpose is a formal commitment. That's the purpose. Otherwise, if the formal commitment is not there, the formal commitment comes in the form of vows we are taking. During the time of the formal initiation, there are vows we are taking, and that has great sanskaras, impressions that are formed. We are sitting in front of so many hundreds of Vaishnavas, and there is definitely the Diksha Guru, there is the fire, and there could be the deities. So that has a great impact and impression, and there is a formal commitment to follow. Otherwise, if the formal commitment is not there, then one could say, oh, then who's responsible? Who's responsible? So one could say, yes, okay, I'm disciple of ISKCON. That means everyone's disciple. Everyone's disciple, no one's disciple. So, and who takes responsibility for the disciple? And who is he accountable to? There has to be one person to whom he is accountable. Therefore, that formal ceremony and that formal commitment is required. And therefore, the Shastra is saying it. Therefore, the Acharyas have said it. And Srila Prabhupada has instituted it. There's enough proof. All right?
Like I wanted to ask that, like within ISKCON, before initiation, like we are connected to Prabhupada. So like when we take initiation, Guruji, that suppose like a disciple like means not follow certain means do some sinful activity, then the reaction goes to spiritual master. Then if like before initiation, like we are there and before initiation, if committed sinful activity, then that reaction would have gone to like Prabhupada.
Before the initiation, whatever sinful reactions are there, at the time of initiation, they are neutralized by the spiritual master. That's what Prabhupada says here, right? Huh? Where's that? We read one quote. Yes. Yeah, so we just read that. The spiritual master accepts the sinful activities of the disciples. And before that, Diksha purifies one's previous sinful reactions.
But we are like before we are connected to Prabhupada. Na?
Yes.
Then like reaction will you go to Prabhupada or not? Like
So you want to ask whether Prabhupada takes the sinful reactions? The process of devotional service is purifying, and so therefore, by the practice of devotional service, definitely the prarabdha and aprarabdha karma is definitely nullified by Krishna himself. Krishna himself says, "Aham sarvapapi," and the spiritual master is acting as Krishna's representative. And so therefore, yes, as soon as one begins the process of devotional service, the nullification of sinful reactions does begin. Definitely.
Krishna is taking or like Prabhupada is taking? Who is taking?
That's team efforts. Prabhupada does say that in one place. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. There are some online devotees asking, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. What is the difference between unofficial and official Shiksha Gurus?
We already explained.
Okay. So, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, why hold our Gurus responsible for our sinful actions?
We will discuss the point when we discuss initiation vows.
Okay. One, the devotee is asking, in case of Dhuru Maharaj, Suniti, Mother Suniti, Shiksha Guru also benefited and she went back to Godhead. In case of this happens in material world or not? Of course, this happens in material world. So I think I don't know what he wants to say.
Fine. So we're proceeding ahead. So now coming to parampara. So that's something which I'm sure all of you are aware of. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam imam rajashyo vidu sakalini mahata yogo nashta. So Krishna himself has emphasized on getting the knowledge in parampara, and there is the detailed parampara mentioned at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita also. You can see that, and the song by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So there is the entire parampara mentioned. What is the importance of the parampara? What's the importance of parampara? Yes, Dharamir.
And in Anodi Prabhupada examples, like if mango is there in the tree, so if you directly come to the ground, then it will be broke. So branches, if it will come, then it will be safe.
Oh, similarly,
in the Guru Parampara, we see that by the disciplic succession chain is there. So the knowledge coming from Krishna to the disciplic succession, knowledge will be not broken.
yes,
So-
that's right. Whenever an analogy is given, two parts of the analogy, not one part. I'm not interested in the mango. Okay. And that should be standard of describing analogies. Mother,
Purity of message is preserved.
yes, the purity message is served. Yes, because it is coming down as it is. Okay. We have a quote from Srila Prabhupada. Please read.
The Guru is one because he comes in public succession. What Vyasadeva and Krishna taught 5,000 years ago is also being taught now. There is no difference between the two instructions. Although hundreds and thousands of acharyas have come and gone, the message is one. The real Guru cannot be two, for the real Guru does not speak differently from his predecessors.
Okay, so the same message. And there is, I don't know if it's there in the Leelamrit, there's a famous pastime of early days of ISKCON, Haigri Prabhu. Once, in fact, he was the first disciple of Srila Prabhupada in the Western world. So he had a dream or a vision that Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and then there was Krishna was replaced by Srila Prabhupada and Arjuna was replaced by himself. So the early days, he got a little bewildered. And so next day he told this to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said, yes, it's the same message which Krishna has given to Arjuna. It is the same message that I'm presenting to you. So that's the meaning of parampara, repeating as it is. Read. Sorry.
So if you want to understand Bhagavad Gita, then we must understand in the same way as the person who directly heard from. This is called parampara system. Suppose I have heard something from my spiritual master, so I speak to you the same thing. So this is parampara system. You cannot imagine what my spiritual master said, or even if you read some books, you cannot understand unless you understand it from me. This is called parampara system. You cannot jump over to the superior guru, neglecting the next acharya, immediate next acharya.
Yes. So one has to follow the parampara system, the disciplic succession. And as Prabhupada is saying, you cannot imagine what my spiritual master said. So one cannot just imagine that, okay, the previous acharyas have their writings. And so the 6 Goswamis have given so much literature, so many books. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all these acharyas have given so many books. And definitely Srila Prabhupada encouraged us to read those books. But ultimately, all those teachings have to be understood in the light of what Srila Prabhupada has given us. That's what Prabhupada is. You cannot jump. First of all, one has to very carefully understand what the immediate acharya has given. And for us, it specifically means Prabhupada. So therefore, before reading the books of previous acharyas, it's very important that we very carefully understand Srila Prabhupada's books. That is fundamental and very vital. If we don't understand, first of all, what Srila Prabhupada has given us, and we prematurely jump to other acharyas' commentaries and other books, we may not understand them properly. And we may see apparent contradictions and get confused. So therefore, first of all, the writings of the immediate acharya must be very carefully understood, and everything must be seen in the light of those teachings. This is the etiquette. This is sadachar. Not that one jumps over to the previous acharya and says that, oh, this acharya has said this, oh, this acharya has said this, I'm going to take this teaching, I'm going to say, no. Is it in line with what Srila Prabhupada has said? Definitely, what Srila Prabhupada has given is in accordance to the previous acharyas. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, Srila Prabhupada has adjusted teachings according to time, place, and circumstances. And so therefore, for us within ISKCON, it is very important to all consider the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. When that's clear, then one can refer to the previous acharyas and try to understand that in light of what Srila Prabhupada has given, or further enhance our understanding of what Srila Prabhupada has given. But our immediate reference point should always be what Srila Prabhupada has given. That's our immediate reference. If we find any apparent contradictions in teachings, the teaching that has been accepted as authoritative for us is that which has been given by Srila Prabhupada. That's the etiquette which Prabhupada is very clearly pointing out here. One cannot jump. One cannot jump. So sometimes we do find these things happening, that one takes hold of a book of some previous acharya and says, oh, here it is said like this, I must follow that. It is good, it holds good as long as it is in line with Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Is this point clear? Yes? That's the etiquette. Okay, fine. We have a short group exercise. So you can just form small groups of 3 or 4 devotees. Just quickly turn around and form small groups of 3 or 4 devotees, and you can answer these questions here. So basically 2 questions. Why do we have to accept living Diksha Gurus? And what are the benefits of accepting living Diksha Gurus? The emphasis is on living. And not that I accept some previous acharya who is not presently living as my Diksha Guru. So therefore, then why we have to accept and what are the benefits of accepting living Diksha Gurus? Question clear? Okay, just come up with a few points. We'll give you 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, just discuss amongst yourselves in small groups and then come up with a few points. You could note down a few points on, there's a box on page 14. So you could note down a few points there. Done? Okay, fine. Can we have a scribe here to write? Okay, fine. Let's begin. Okay, one point here. Bolo, bolo, jaldi bolo.
There is accountability on account of disciple because he is taking vow.
Okay, accountability. You know, don't have to number them. You just accountability. Yes.
And then there is responsibility taken by the spiritual master.
Yes. Okay. Good. So accountability and responsibility. That's the most important point. Yes. What else?
Living Guru can give us correction.
Yes. Can give corrections. Can give corrections. Next. Wait, is that same group or some other group?
Like a living guru can explain the teachings as per time, place, and circumstance.
Good point. Yes. Can write a little bigger, please. Explain according to time, place, and circumstances. Hey, very small. This is not your notebook, Baba. Not used to writing on boards, it looks like. Now, anyway, people don't use all this stuff these days.
Formal initiation ceremony.
What happens?
When we accept living Diksha Guru, then we can get formal initiation ceremony. Otherwise,
so what's the benefit of that?
Then we can feel better connectivity with the parampara.
Feel better connectivity.
Then we can connect in an authorized way.
Okay, okay, fine. So an authorized connection with the parampara. Huh.
We can take association from a guru. And
was that? We can
take association from guru.
Yes.
And discuss our problems also.
And what?
Discuss our problems to gurus.
Okay, fine. So yes, so we can get the association, of the guru. Go ahead. Bolo.
So the online devotees are writing, we should accept living Diksha Guru because in times of distress, vocal conversation.
Okay, fine. So association, guidance, and guidance for various challenges.
Its essence and how to apply that philosophy to TPC. And scripture suggests necessity to accept Diksha Guru. There should be someone living to take responsibility, care, charge.
Yes.
And current scenario can be considered by living Diksha Guru. And Diksha Guru.
So we made that point of time, place, circumstances, current scenario.
Parampara system. And we are not pure. Krishna will not instruct us. Therefore, whimsically we can say this is our realization. So you can correct us. Personal association, personal instruction, guidance.
Yes.
Living Diksha Guru is always there to guide us from wrong path according to level of consciousness. Clarify things, accept personalism, and deny personalism. Vapu Seva along with Vani Seva.
Okay, that's a good point. Vapu Seva. Yes, Vapu Seva.
Mercy and enhance our bhakti. Philosophy and instruction can be known. Too much help in spiritual life. Personal life, dedication to bhakti inspires us. Guru and disciple have to volunteer.
Okay, so there could be inspiration. There's somebody living, then there could be inspiration.
Voluntary accept each other to.
Okay. Some other points? Yeah, you said something right there.
Puji, like previously we heard ki Guru is a mercy incarnation of Krishna. So Guru Diksha Guru is the authorized person by Krishna only. If we commit some Guru, like we are committing Diksha Guru, that means, or if he is telling, yes, I am accepting you, Krishna has accepted you, then only we came to know that we are connected to Krishna. Otherwise, if we are randomly going to someone.
The emphasis is on living Diksha Guru, the importance of living Diksha Guru.
Like let's say if we go to Prabhupada, but Prabhupada cannot speak to us now.
Yes.
And like Krishna accepted. So we didn't came to know whether Krishna has accepted us or not. So that's why we should approach a living Diksha Guru because he's the authorized and mercy incarnation.
Of course, one could justify that. Yeah, Prabhupada is also authorized. He's in the parampara. Even Rupa Goswami is definitely in parampara.
But yeah, we didn't, we cannot, well, there should be someone who can tell us, who should be authorized. Like Prabhupada has made disciples.
Okay, so fine. So the point is yes. So the authorization is there, definitely. Okay. So we already said that. Authorized, yes, authorized. Okay. Some other points? Yes. Here.
If a living person is there, so he can tell us that I am accepting you or not. Like,
Well, he doesn't have to say it, it's understood.
yeah, but like if living guru we are not taking, then we basically say that he has accepted us.
Yeah, so okay, so there could be whimsicality if there is no okay, so no living Diksha Guru could lead to whimsicality. Yes.
Living guru can chastise and correct that side.
That point has been made, I think so. Yes. Yes, can give corrections, chastisements. Okay, fine. So, okay, one last point.
Prabhuji, if there is contradiction between Shastras that even in Prabhupada what said, then we can clarify with this.
Yes, yes, clarification of instructions. Yes, that can be possible with a living person. Okay, fine. Please read.
We cannot jump over to Krishna. That is another nonsense. We must approach Krishna through Guru. That is Parampara system. Krishna is not so cheap thing that you can jump over. Somebody says, oh, why should I accept Guru? I can approach Krishna direct. No, Krishna does not accept such. Mad Bhakta Puja Vyadhika.
Continue, please.
Krishna says that first of you become devotee of my devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Gopi Bhakti Pad Kamleor Dasanudas. I am the servant of the Krishna.
Yes, so one cannot directly approach Krishna, one cannot directly jump to the previous acharyas, so one has to follow the system that has been given. So just to continue on that point of Gopir Patur Kamleo Das Das on page number 15, you can see the last quote there. Somebody read the last quote on page number 15.
This is called the more you become in the lower position, then the more you are advanced. This is called parampara system. You have to learn how to become servant of the servant of Krishna. The more you become in the lower position, servant, 100 times servant, the more you are advanced.
Yes. So that's our system. Not that we try to jump over and get some superior mercy. That's not our system. So therefore, this very clearly refutes the Ritwik theory. So I'm sure most of you by now may be familiar of what's the Ritwik theory and their understanding that there is no need of the living Diksha Guru, simply accept the previous Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, as the Diksha Guru, and so that's it. There's no one after Srila Prabhupada. So that's their understanding. And anyway, it was concocted on the basis of some quotes and some letters. So people can misuse so many things, even though they're authorized. But then the mental speculatory activities of the mind help one to derive so many innumerable meanings for what's there in Shastra. And so therefore, so on page number 16, you can see some of the refutations against this Ritwik theory. So somebody could read those points. Maybe read one point and just pass on the mic.
Arguments refuting the posthumous Ritwik theory. The posthumous Ritwik theory is a fallacious theory by which a spiritual master allegedly acts as a Diksha Guru after his departure through the agency of Ritviks or officiating priests.
There is no.
Yeah, so that's the basic meaning of Ritvik. A Ritvik is an officiating priest, and on behalf of the Diksha Guru, so one who performs the yajna and all that. So that's a Ritvik. Ritvik is basically a priest who performs the yajna. And so he's performing that on behalf of the Diksha Guru. And so therefore, the understanding of the Ritviks that who sort of is a splinter group of ISKCON is their understanding is there's no Diksha Guru after Srila Prabhupada, but then all other gurus are basically like Ritviks. They are simply officiating on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada is the only Diksha Guru. That is their understanding. Okay, so now some points refuting that. Of course, the GBC has brought out an entire book on that, but we don't want to get into so many details. A few important points are good at this point of time. Okay, read.
There is no example of one taking Diksha from one's Param Guru in any of the bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas.
Yes, so there has been an immediate Guru out from the Param Guru or Param Guru. Next.
There is no Shastric evidence indicating that one may take Diksha from one's Param Guru.
Veerabhadra Goswami, the son of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, in a letter of Srinivas Acharya, ostracized one Jaya Gopal from Vaishnava society for claiming himself as a disciple of his Param Guru.
The argument that there are no qualified Diksha Gurus amongst Prabhupada's disciples indicates that Prabhupada's teachings have not proven effective. So what would be the use of becoming Prabhupada's Diksha disciple through the Ritik priest anyway?
Yes, that's quite a good logical argument. So if one says that by following Prabhupada's teachings, nobody has become qualified to offer Diksha, then you follow the Ritvik system and follow Prabhupada, then how does that one make one qualified anyways? So it just shows that the system is ineffective. Then it's going to be ineffective anyways. Okay, next.
Ritvik theory implies that only exceptionally empowered Acharya can become Guru, which is not supported in Shastra or not Vaishnava traditions.
Yes, so we already discussed that point, that anyone who's properly connected to the Parampara can function as a Guru.
Ritvik theory implies that Acharyas can act contrary to Shastra.
Next.
Ritvik theory function by undermining the natural development of faith in living Vaishnavas, which is an essential aspect of bhakti.
Yes, so it's natural for a living entity to develop faith in someone who's living. That's natural. But then by following the system, then that sort of natural faith which develops towards a living is being undermined or neglected. Next.
A Ritvik Guru gives advice, however, he does not formally accept the responsibility of delivering the disciple as a bona fide Diksha Guru does.
Yeah, so then there's no one who's taking responsibility for the disciple. If Prabhupada takes responsibility, how can Prabhupada take responsibility? He's not living. Right? So therefore, then the whole important point of responsibility and accountability goes away. So no responsibility for the guru, no accountability for the disciple. Very nice system, isn't it? So I do whatever nonsense I want. Who's there? Who's going to bring me on track? Prabhupada. He's only in the DT form. What's he going to do? So it could be a very convenient way to accept to give up responsibility and accountability. But then, so therefore, that sort of system doesn't work. Therefore, the living Diksha Guru becomes essential. And that's the system which has been recommended by all our acharyas. Okay. Also, another important point we see, especially in our parampara, is that we do understand that Diksha is very important in our practices of devotional service, which Rupa Goswami has definitely emphasized. But at the same time, as we already mentioned that point, that within Diksha, the most important aspect is Shiksha. That's the most important aspect. And so therefore, it's not that just the official ceremony of Diksha is over and then everything ends with that. So to continue to receive Shiksha from Diksha Gurus and other Shiksha Gurus and to follow those instructions is vital for one's progress in devotional service. And therefore we find within our parampara, we find that some of the personalities are having only Shiksha relationship, not even Diksha relationship. So there is a quote on page number 19. You can see that somebody can read the third quote there. Whoever has the mic, please read.
Diksha purifies one's previous sinful reaction.
Page number 19, third quote. Thakur Bhaktivinoda.
Thakur Bhaktivinoda was not official spiritual master of Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj. Thakur Bhaktivinoda was not official spiritual master of Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj was already renounced order, Paramahansa. But Thakur Bhaktivinoda, while he was playing the part of a householder, was treated by Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj as preceptor on account of his highly elevated spiritual understanding, and thus he was always treating him as his spiritual master. The spiritual master is divided into two parts, namely Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So officially, Bhakti Vinod Thakur was like Siksha Guru of Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj.
Yes, so we can find these relationships within our parampara because the greater connection is to the Shiksha. And so therefore the important point for us to learn is that the ongoing Shiksha, getting the ongoing Shiksha from the Diksha Guru and all other Shiksha Gurus is very, very important for our progress in devotional service. And so therefore, it is not that because sometimes we could say an unduly excess emphasis is laid on just the ceremony of Diksha. But just the ceremony of Diksha doesn't mean much without the Shiksha. So it's not that ceremony is over and everything is finished. So one has to get the Shiksha, one has to follow the instructions. That's how one makes progress. And that is the individual responsibility of every disciple. Every disciple. Not that the disciple doesn't follow and then he blames the guru and says, oh, the guru is incompetent or something like that. No. It's the responsibility of every disciple to get Diksha, to hear the instructions of the Diksha Guru and other Shiksha Gurus, either directly or from recordings, and then apply, implement in one's own life. And that's how one can make progress. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. If there are any questions, we will take in the next class. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samvid Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. So our next class is at?
Guruji,
What time?
Guruji, 1 hour after. 5:30.
Yes, as the schedule says 5:30.
Okay, then 5:30. Okay.
5:30 to 8. Right?
5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Is everyone clear with that? Okay, fine. Thank you. Hare Krishna.